From the fall of 2022 to the spring of 2023, a 5-month span, give or take, 5 young women turned up dead around Portland, Oregon. Now, at first, police said there was no evidence that the deaths were connected, or no signs of a serial killer might be on the prowl. But by the summer of that year, a man named Jesse Calhoun was being called a person of interest in at least 4 of those deaths, which occurred just after Calhoun had gotten out of prison on a theft and burglary conviction, and before he was locked up again in a separate and unrelated case. Now, incidentally, he'd been let out of prison 11 months earlier for helping fight wildfires. This is quite a complicated legal span, or journey, I should say. So Calhoun was days away from being a free man once again when in May of last year, a grand jury indicted him in the deaths of 3 women: Charity Lynn Perry, Bridget Webster, and Joanna Speaks. Now, he wasn't charged with the murder of Kristen Smith, who the DA says was the first of the group to be killed until now. Yeah, yesterday, a grand jury handed up the same charges in Smith's death that Calhoun faces in the others: second-degree murder and second-degree abuse of a corpse. Kristen Smith's mother spoke at the press conference.
I want to thank everybody for all the support and love and keeping Kristen's name and memory alive and not forgotten. I thank the other victims' families for staying by my side the whole way. We searched together, we fought together, and we never gave up. And to still stay by my side, even after Jesse Calhoun was indicted for your 3 loved ones, and Kristen wasn't. You're here with me today. I also personally cannot thank Detective Jeff Pontius, my homicide detective, and Steve Gandy for truly caring about my daughter's case and not giving up and promising me they're going to do everything they can and they're not going to give up.
Heartbreaking, to say the least. Okay, I'm joined right now by Ariel Hambly, whose sister, Joanna Speaks, was also an alleged victim of Jesse Calhoun. Thank you so much for coming on, and I'm so sorry for your loss. I know talking about this is not easy, but this is an interesting time, right? So Kristen's family today finally on the path to potential justice. How does that make you feel going through it yourself?
It makes me feel like there's hope for Ashleigh's family as well. It makes me feel relieved for Melissa. There's a certain weight that's lifted off of your shoulders when the indictment comes in. So I know currently, Melissa is trying to bask in that lightness that she's feeling. It's hard to describe, definitely.
It's real. It makes it real. It makes it legitimate. It was presented to a jury. Evidence was presented, and they came back with charges. So this is the first step in the process. You've spoken with Kristen's family. I mean, what have they been saying? What are you telling them? This is now a community that you wish you never were a part of, but you do share a connection.
Yeah, we really are a little unique family in a way. We just went through the worst parts of our lives together and stuck by each other's sides. I'm telling Melissa to finally get some rest. Before, like you said, the indictment does make it real. And even though we know detectives are working so hard to get charges filed, until that indictment happens, we are on the ground. We're talking to people. We were searching properties. There wasn't anything or any situation we weren't putting ourselves in to try to get information to further a case. So Melissa really can finally breathe now.
I appreciate you talking about the work that law enforcement has been doing to bring these charges and ultimately prosecutors to move forward with them. But that's the legal point, right? From the human point of view, is this frustrating to you, the timeline? It's been, what, more than 2 years since your sister's death? I mean, is that frustrating for you?
And it is very frustrating. Two of her children, me and my partner adopted. So I have now a 14 and 15-year-old who still don't know what happened to their mom. Obviously, we know blunt force trauma like everyone else does, but that's still to this day all we know. And we're going to have to wait until 2027 to hear any other pieces of the story. Yeah, it's frustrating. I understand now, after this amount of time, why it is the way that it is, but that doesn't make it any less hard on the kids, any less hard on, Joanna's siblings. She was one of 6, so we're all feeling it.
Absolutely. Look, from a legal point of view, I can make the argument all day. Oh, they want to make sure they don't take the investigation. The last thing, if they believe that Jesse Lee Calhoun did this, is to give him any ammunition down the road to say he never got a fair trial because information was released and tainted a jury. I get it. But the human point of view, that can't be ignored. And I completely understand what you're saying. Now, I have to ask you about this 5th woman you mentioned. So Ashleigh Real, do you think she's also going to be linked to Calhoun? I mean, did you get any information from the authorities about whether or not he could be charged with a 5th woman?
I think that they said it all in the way that they responded in the press conference when the news asked about Ashleigh Real. And the DA, Nathan Vasquez, responded with, that is a very active investigation that we are working closely with Clackamas Sheriff's Office. To me, that says, okay, it's just a matter of time before she's added to the indictment. She's the one that had the closest ties to Jesse out of all of the girls. I definitely expect her to be added to that. Her family has been so patient and kept so quiet and just waiting for the day to get that call, and we stand by them 100%. Thank you for bringing that up, because I don't want anyone to forget we're still waiting on Ashleigh to be added.
And real quick, you mentioned connections, right? So he's pled not guilty to the killings of the multiple victims in this case. He's probably going to do the same here. Are you confident he's the right guy?
At first I had my doubts, like I think anyone would. We weren't given any information, but now that we're going through multiple grand juries and more, Kristen is added now, I really do think Ashleigh will eventually. Yeah. And that just tells me that the evidence is substantial, and I might not know what it is yet, but I will find out. So that makes me feel confident.
Ariel Hambly, thank you so much for coming out. Really, really appreciate it. Again, wishing you and the family all the best. Our thoughts and prayers are with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.